13 Action News reporter Austin Carter is live with how delays continue to impact both renters and landlords.
We cannot exercise our rights in court.
Diana and Michael Polyakov say they're at the mercy of the state's eviction ban. They recently purchased their Granite Bay dream home.
Tonight, an exclusive look at the struggles landlords are still having a year into the pandemic.
All right, so I have an interesting story for you today. Now, the common story is that the tenants are the ones that are suffering the most due to these eviction moratoriums. Now, I've been putting videos out for months now just saying how the landlords are really struggling to survive through all this. But it's even worse than that, okay? Because a lot of landlords actually have employees working for them as well. And because of these eviction moratoriums, some of those employees are losing their jobs. Okay, so they're making the situation worse due to these eviction moratoriums. But let's get into this article. It's a pandemic policy that's keeping people in their homes, but costing a handful of others their jobs in Ogdensburg. Rob Dawson owns 17 rental units in Ogdensburg. He also oversees maintenance for 75 other rental properties through his company, Trash, Grass, and Snow. Over the last year, some of his properties have suffered. But with the eviction moratorium in place, he says there's nothing he can do about it. And this is a problem, because simply put, a lot of landlords out there, yeah, we are small business owners, okay? And we do employ people. We do pay for contractors. We do pay for services, okay? Eviction moratorium, actually, it has a chain reaction, okay? If I can't pay my bills, if I can't pay my vendors, if I can't pay my employees, then other people are losing money as well. So he says, so we'll go to that tenant and say, you've got to clean up your mess. And that tenant says, or what? It would have been, or we are going to have to evict you. With the eviction protection from the state, Dawson says 30% of his tenants have stopped paying rent. Those reduced revenues have forced him to lay off 2 employees. Yeah, if you take a 30% cut in how much you're getting paid, suddenly, there's a lot of things you won't be able to afford at that point. I mean, people don't understand that we're not operating on super wide margins here when you're in the landlord business. Some of the margins are quite small. And in the case of this gentleman here, that 30% cut means that he had to lay off 2 people. I know that if I was not receiving the same amount of rent, there's a lot of services and other things that I'm not going to be buying, okay? Yeah, we still have to maintain an apartment or a house for the tenant, but there's not going to be any room for any sort of improvements or just anything else. We might just barely be skating by. So they really have to look at it from our perspective every once in a while. Ogdensburg Mayor Mike Skelly says Dawson's story is concerning. I do have concern for this going so long. Their properties are going to deteriorate and they're not going to have the resources to maintain them, said Skelly. Yeah, and that's exactly the problem. If you extend this eviction moratorium too long, we are not going to have the money to maintain those properties the way that they should be maintained. I mean, even basic maintenance is going to become very difficult. Now, fortunately, this landlord has other properties that are paying rent. His 70% that are paying their rent are covering the expenses, but he's probably not making any profit at all right now and just barely skating by. And this mayor, they might have good intentions, but there's nothing that this mayor can do because most of these eviction moratoriums are either state or federal, okay? And with less money and manpower, some essential fixes just can't get done. We have to select very carefully what we can repair because there is only so much money to go around. We can't afford to repair everything right now, said Dawson. But Dawson says he hopes some monetary help will be on the way soon. The latest stimulus package has $45 billion in rental assistance set aside for those qualified. The current state moratorium is set to expire on May 1st. Yeah, and even though there is some money coming from the stimulus, in all situations, it's just not going to work for a lot of landlords.